Hey everybody, welcome to episode, what the fuck is it, 10?
10, yeah, it's 10 now.
10 of the Circle Podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
These are your hosts, I'm Ian.
I'm Christian.
And this is Patrick.
As always.
Yes, sir.
Fun night tonight, guys.
Yeah, what do we got?
Well, tonight
What are we
we
drinking?
have a good old classic.
A classic.
A classic. It's one that I always used to drink a lot in high school.
This is true.
Sorry, no, I didn't drink in high school.
Ian didn't drink till he was 21.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when he was 21, he drank Crown Royal.
Man,
Apparently.
surprised you didn't
Apparently.
just kind of dry up because. Oh, you mean alcohol? Okay.
So tonight we have a bottle of Crown Royal, as I'm sure you all are familiar with.
Yes,
Canadian
indubitably.
whiskey.
Ooh.
You don't really see
Canada?
it. Yeah, I feel like you don't really see a lot of Canadian whiskey. I don't know. Like,
I
correct
actually
me if
never
I'm
knew that
wrong.
it was from
you have
Canada.
some?
I have a little bit already.
Alright.
Thank you, though.
Yep. Yeah, Canadian whiskey. It's a little bit sweet for my taste, but it's still pretty good if all together. I spilled a bunch on my
Now-
fucking pants.
So, if you give yourself alcohol poisoning while drinking this, you just get free healthcare.
Yeah.
yeah, that's perfect.
All right, let's test this stuff out.
All right, well,
To a wonderful night and a terrible
Episode
morning.
10, and a terrible morning, says Christian.
pretty much what I remember. Tastes like somebody poured some syrup in there.
Yeah.
Really? Mm-hmm. I think it's
It's
decent.
kind of smoky.
Well, it's good, but it's got smoky undertones. But I feel like for the most part, it's very much like a sweet, almost.
Yeah, it's definitely sweet.
Like they clearly tried to go for some maple vibe.
some
in it.
maple vibe. Yeah.
Aunt Jemima ain't got nothing on these guys.
Yeah, right?
All right.
Maybe that's the secret. They got just Aunt Jemima poured inside
They
of it.
just buy in
Buy bulk and then mix it up.
Mix it into the barrels, and
Yep.
there you go. That's Crown Royal.
All right, guys. So
All right.
tonight, the biggest thing that I feel like we should talk about is all this stuff that's going on with YouTube lately.
Yeah, because
YouTube
this is
seems
actually,
interesting.
there's a lot of stuff going down.
Well, and it's
right
been,
now.
good God, it's been a long time coming. Like YouTube's been getting worse and worse for the past like year and a half. It seems like nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
Seems like nowadays.
Seems like nowadays. Okay, so you two are the big YouTube users. What are the big things that you noticed that have gone?
Like 6 or 7 months ago, I can't remember what it was now, but sometime in the late fall, I first started to notice this stuff because that was when they first like changed their guidelines. If you guys remember that, they put out that big thing that was like and I think this is definitely a continuation of that, because originally it was like violent content, racist content, and it was pretty much a good idea in theory, but then in practice they didn't implement it very well. You see
No.
like the stuff with these videos getting deleted that are just talking about kind of regular stuff.
Yeah.
And it seems to be kind of YouTube's reactionary policies to a lot of this stuff. But you were talking about this that specific video, Christian, that like some racist video that was actually getting monetized.
Yeah,
what was
okay.
that about?
So this is basically what happened. This is the official story. The London Times and the Wall Street Journal, they ran like these hit job articles on YouTube after a Kraft. I don't know if it was the mac and cheese or what, because they make a shit ton of stuff. Doesn't matter. Go on for the next 20 minutes on those little
literally.
details. A Kraft commercial appeared on this video on a racist YouTube account, like a white supremacist one, with, by the way, only 1,000 subscribers, which is fucking nothing. Hypocrite.
Yeah, well, and there were a bunch of companies from what I heard. There was like an Apple one that was playing on there, and then like some major companies. I remember Apple was definitely one of them.
Apple was one of them.
Yeah, I just know there were a lot of big companies that were getting because you don't
Oh, you
necessarily
mean that
get to
cut
choose.
out of the business deal?
No,
with
that,
YouTube?
that ended up afterwards. But at the beginning, they were on these
like
same videos.
Oh,
Being
okay.
advertised or whatever
Yeah,
on the
and
videos.
so now all these companies are saying that they don't want anything to do with it, and so there was this reactionary move to kind of pull out of the deals, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And this is the thing that kickstarted it all. And I was eating my dinner.
Cheers
Boys.
with yourself.
Well, I was eating dinner and just settling down for the night. And when I do that, I like to pull up a little like quick 15-minute YouTube video. So I go on YouTube and I look up The Amazing Atheist because that's one of the channels that I like to get a little social commentary from. And I see that he's changed his name. It's just now TJ Kirk. And I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Man,
This
he
is-
caved.
he can't. Well, no, actually, that's not what happened.
He's no longer an atheist. He's a believer.
Well, see, here's the thing.
Jesus has found his
All it took was some censorship on YouTube, and he found the light.
I found the law. I thank the FCC every day. So what happened was he's actually been thinking of rebranding himself for a while. So that's kind of like the silver lining because he doesn't really just talk about atheism. In fact, that's like the minority.
That name comes off so like kind of pretentious and like
a little bit.
The amazing atheist.
It kind of does.
I'm amazing, and my life is about atheism. It's like that's what I get on like the surface. It felt like a very weird choice for him in the first place.
It could also be kind of a joke too.
Yeah,
he does a lot of tongue-in-cheek shit. And so that happens. He tried changing it back because he was like, well, my banner is still the same, my profile picture's still the same, so, you know, gotta, like, it just doesn't make sense right now, so I'm gonna change it back. And this was fucking weird. When he tried to change it back, they were like, oh, no, you can't use that name because it's got bad words in it. Atheist.
Atheist is a bad word.
He can't put the word atheist in his name.
Yeah.
It's fucking ridiculous.
It's really weird.
So now, after all of this, Google and YouTube, they're going into panic mode, and they're implementing a new policy which implements an artificial intelligence system that looks for and targets any video covering any controversial subject now, no matter what it is. And no matter what side you're on, just because this one little video accidentally let an ad slip through.
So the big thing is that like these companies don't want their ads
run on something that you could see as like racist. So it's like, oh, like N-word something something, and then it's like Apple video playing above. And okay, here's my take on this stuff, and I really think that this has become a lot bigger deal than it needs to.
Yes, that's for sure.
What do you mean?
So first of all, companies always do this stuff. So let's look at how YouTube reacted, right? Their initial response was just get the stuff down and get it out of the way. Now it's pretty obvious to me that they're trying to cover their ass with this algorithm that's looking for this content. But the fact is, everybody's acting like, oh, this is how YouTube's going to be forever. I don't think it is.
No.
I think that this is a reactionary move, and they're going to troubleshoot the algorithm as it goes. They just wanted the stuff off. They're not really going to kick off every controversial person. They're trying to cover their ass so those videos aren't getting run with those ads, and then they're going to slowly move back, because that's what every company does. They cover their ass and then they try to fix it back.
Yeah.
People are suggesting, some of the people that I'm watching, that it doesn't look like this is going to get any better.
Yeah, I just don't believe that, because like this stuff always happens like that, with especially stuff on the internet. When they're worried about losing money, they cover their ass so they know they won't lose their money. Then they try to work with the people, because they know the audience is still going to be there. People aren't going to stop using YouTube. Like, we can pretend there's going to be a YouTube boycott or something, but people are retarded. That's not going to exist.
Well, no way, dude.
Well, and so the fact is, YouTube is just, they're covering their ass. That's all it comes down to. I know I've said that a bunch, but that's really all it is. And as moving forward, they're just going to try to make it better again, because they just don't want that stuff showing up. So they took the blanket statement or the blanket cause covering everything, so they know none of this stuff is going to get through for now. And then they're going to pick up the pieces of their audience after they make sure they get their money safe.
That's what it all comes.
And that's what companies have been doing for years. So I don't think that we need to worry as much as everybody's freaking out about this. I think that it's scary right now, but it's just how companies work when they're trying to do PR and I think that's a.
What are you mostly freaked out about, though?
Well,
it's a good question.
Actually, I kind of want to end the show on that, because I have a theory about why this might be going on, and it's not necessarily, I can't prove it as a fact, but it could be. Right now, basically, we're just looking at a massive dragnet policy that's just sweeping up a bunch of random people for a problem, by the way, that actually doesn't even exist.
What problem are you talking about? The racist content?
Yeah, because YouTube.
Well, I mean, it does exist.
Well, no, I mean advertisements for it. Because YouTube already has rules in place where that shit's not supposed to happen. That ad that appeared on that just happened to slip through the cracks somehow, which sounds a little weird.
Which again sounds like further evidence that they don't really care about this that much, and they're just trying to keep their money safe.
They're just trying to keep their money safe.
Which to me doesn't mean that this is turning into some evil thing. It means that it's a company doing what companies do, And then they're just
We
going
want to continue to be a company.
And then
continue
within the next
money.
year, they're going to pull a bunch of PR stuff to try to make it better. Like, I don't know, creating a YouTube TV or YouTube Red, funneling money into things that people are going to want so they don't care about
YouTube Red
this
is
stuff.
a big thing that deals with the advertising, isn't it? And
YouTube
how they're
Red's becoming
distributing
huge.
the money
It's
between
funded
people
by a
who
lot of
are.
stuff.
Yeah.
Well, it's not necessarily like the difference between YouTube Red and TV is that YouTube TV is actual TV stations, and YouTube Red is stuff from their content
YouTube.
creators. You know,
And YouTube TV costs a shit ton of money.
yeah, $35 a month. Well, how much does your cable bill cost?
That's
though?
what I was gonna say.
You know, I
we
spend
paid
I spend
cable-
way more than that for cable.
cable and internet.
But if you can't get internet,
Madison was like $1 something.
yeah, but you can't $1, 100 something. Yeah, but I did, for a second
Screw
it just caught me
you.
off guard. I was like,
Screw
$1. I was like,
you,
what?
dude.
We're paying that?
YouTube has
That's a good deal.
YouTube has kind of in recent months been trying to kind of reorient itself as kind of a mainstream TV-esque platform.
Yeah.
Too. So that's one of the reasons why I think maybe they aren't necessarily going to tweak the algorithm quite as much, maybe, as you might be suggesting, because this is kind of, it could be the direction that they just want to go.
See, but I don't. From a marketing standpoint, it makes no sense for them to go that direction. When you look at places like Hulu and Netflix are sanctuaries for the more obscene content. I just watched a TV show that showed a fucking dick in it, and I was not super excited about it. Honestly, they kind of just threw it at you. But it was like, but the fact is, fuck you, dude.
I think our co-host doth protest too much.
Oh, okay. Move on. Anyways, but I think that they are like these streaming services have become a sanctuary from cable, from places where
Yeah,
You
exactly.
have limitations.
and so I think it would be I can't imagine YouTube going in the direction away from that rather than towards it, because that's where the money is now. So saying
is.
like they're going to move towards more a cable network type thing. If that is the way they go, they have the shittiest marketing team I've ever met in my entire life. Because
Well,
that
you've
would
never
be
met
completely idiotic.
Just
I haven't met them. I said they
YouTube
would
TV,
be.
You mean?
Well, for the entire direction of the company as a whole, but I was specifically mentioning YouTube TV. But the YouTube TV is no, not YouTube TV, like YouTube Red and all this stuff, because YouTube TV is just them hosting actual other networks, so that's going to be the
Okay.
same as cable. But with Red and these other content, it would be really, really dumb of them
Yeah,
to shy
okay,
away
then
from the
yeah.
obscene content, because that's what people want on Netflix and they want on Hulu. They can see, people say fuck and nobody freaks out. I watched that show The Ranch we talked about a few weeks ago is like a sitcom where they just swear and it's normal. And I think if YouTube does go in the other direction, they're really, really dumb as a company. And the only reason I can see them going that direction is if their overlord Google tells them they have to.
Yeah, I can see that. So right now, if you make any video about foreign policy, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Syria, terrorism, foreign policy, drugs, religion, secularism, feminism, race, gender, anything related to social justice, etc., things like that, it's basically going to be demonetized for now.
Yeah.
And this is affecting major channels such as TJ Kirk, formerly known as The Amazing Atheist, because of this, Sargon of Akkad, The Jimmy Dore Show, The Armored Skeptic, The David Pakman Show, Humanist Report, Benjamin Dixon, Jeff Waldorf, a whole bunch of things.
I've never watched or heard of any of those.
I showed you a little Jimmy Dore.
Oh, that's right. That's that one. Yeah.
You did like it.
But that, like,
I wish...
all these huge content creators that I've never heard of.
And I really wish that I had more of a diverse list, because these
Those
are
are
all
just
like,
the ones you
it is. It really is. But,
no,
it's affecting countless
absolutely.
others.
Well,
Countless
and
others.
broken record over here. I think it's gonna blow over. I think it's
It's possible,
because
yeah.
the demonetizing thing really seems like they're just scared that another one's gonna slip through the cracks, and so they want to make sure that doesn't happen.
You know who's not being affected?
Any of the like normal content creators, like the video game guys, not
That type
for
of
mostly,
shit.
yeah.
Except for they're also trying to go for like they want to censor people in terms of like you can't cuss on the internet anymore now.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Good
Yeah,
luck
right.
with that. Yeah.
Fuck. Stop me.
I did hear
FCC.
that ESPN got super affected by the. I guess it wasn't quite as much the content, but the. I can't remember. It had to do with the YouTube Red
Okay.
and the advertising and stuff. The ESPN channel had to take a bunch of their shit down because of it.
Really?
What about it? Wait, why?
I can't fucking remember. I would have to find the article again, but.
Well, you look for that. But what's interesting to me about the ESPN one, because I even saw that on like the YouTube TV they're setting up YouTube TV to have ESPN, too.
Okay.
So I wonder if that might be a reactionary thing. Not necessarily reactionary, like, oh, they only did TV,
yeah.
but maybe they're on that list because YouTube Red wasn't working for that kind of content, but they knew how much money it drew, so they felt they needed a separate platform for these more stable, professional content creators. That's the only reason I could think that they would move away from just a standard YouTube format, because I feel like a lot of these companies that want to utilize YouTube feel like it's a little bit of an unprofessional platform. Except for late night shows. It's huge for those.
It's huge for those. But CNN's like fucking YouTube is a joke.
Oh God.
It's an absolute joke. They get like 400 views on videos.
Really?
Something like that.
That's absurd. I would have thought that, being at least a major network. I mean, that's probably how many people are watching it live anyways.
That's the thing. Okay, guess who's not being affected?
Major networks, like major news networks.
Well, actually, I am pretty sure I can't confirm that, but I would not be surprised if that's true, which is pretty suspicious.
Yep.
But
we want to talk about net neutrality. That's moving in a wrong direction.
Yeah. The Young Turks main channel isn't being necessarily affected too much.
I'm gonna build a conspiracy around this. They started it.
It's the frogs.
It's the frogs.
They're turning the frogs gay.
Oh God, that is by far the best conspiracy theory I've heard in a while. And like hearing that, it's like Alex Jones. They're turning the frogs gay.
And
Good God.
The gay frogs didn't land on the moon.
I wanna live in that guy's world just for like an hour. Just to know like what goes on in that dude's fucking brain.
So right now we're talking about like drops of 20, 50, even 80% of revenue for these channels if this continues. Guess what? Okay. So Secular Talk got 475,000 views just recently on, I don't know if it was just one video or cumulatively.
Okay.
And they're beating CNN in like major demographics stuff. Guess how much money they made?
How much?
A fucking $1. Seriously.
Yeah, that seems all right.
Actually, this is weird because I was watching the video where Kyle Kalinske was talking about it. He mentioned something about how there's this weird rule with YouTube where you can't mention a figure when you're talking about how much money you make.
Really?
Yeah.
I swear I've seen videos where people talk about money.
Well, he's violated the rule a couple times.
That's
just
weird.
on accident. It is weird.
That does seem really weird.
What's up with that?
Why would they have a rule about that?
So right now,
so brag all over the place on YouTube. So classless.
So right
put
now,
up your racist video. Just don't tell us how much money you make.
So right now, a bunch of these people are actually launching Patreon accounts to get like grassroots support because without them, like a lot of these people have like virtually no income. Secular Talk lost 90% of their revenue. It's back up to 50 because of something.
Yeah.
But it's
well, you know what this reminds me of? Is a few years ago, the CEO of Reddit, the front page of the internet.
Oh yeah.
Had to step down because people found out that Reddit was actively censoring things and using vote manipulation to make sure what ended up on the front page was like acceptable material, quote unquote.
Yeah. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and so people got really, really pissed off.
No kidding.
And somebody had to be the scapegoat, right? And so she did it. But then, like, there was this whole thing during that time when the big people of Reddit, a lot of the mods for the big subreddits and stuff, were telling everybody to move over to this site, Vote. And there was a huge movement. Every thread you saw on Reddit was like they would post links to Vote and say like go to
vote.
Yeah.
Go to vote.
And
Get out the vote.
and it turned out to be like nothing. By 2 months, like there was this huge movement, but then 3 months later, everything was back to normal. Yeah. Everybody was on Reddit, and Vote has like no users.
I bet.
And so, and to me, this kind of feels like that. It's a reactionary thing to something scary that they think they need an alternative, but when it comes down to it, these places, not necessarily like they're self-sustaining from our perspective, but somebody's gonna fix this and make it usable again.
We'll have to see.
I almost guarantee it. I would be willing to bet I would be willing to bet you $100 on this.
There's already
that within a little while they will fix this and people will not transfer over to this new site you're talking about.
Well, I'm not talking about a new site.
What was the one you were talking about?
Patreon.
Oh, Patreon.
Patreon
okay,
is a fundraising site.
Yeah,
so this is for people to get in touch with their communities, and people are responding.
They're
really
just asking for money from their users.
First of all, most of them, when they're saying this, they preface it by saying, we really don't want to do this. We really just don't want to do this. And you have to understand, these are business models. These are things that they need funds to survive, and they are providing people a service. I'm actually considering going on some people's Patreons and just throwing a little cash their way.
That's good of you.
On top of that, you can also, this is a nifty little thing, if you're going to do any shopping on Amazon, a lot of these channels, I know Jimmy Dore does it, the Secular Talk Show does it, a lot of these channels, they have these links to Amazon, where if you click that link and you go to it, whatever you buy, a portion of that is going to go directly into their pockets.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's a nifty little thing.
That's cool and everything, but every time I buy on Amazon, I'd rather give it to like one of the charities that they go with, like not like a YouTube content creator. Like that's cool, but I think that there's a better way they could have gone about that than trying to steal funds from charities to.
Is it stealing?
I was just no, it's not really stealing. I was just being a dick.
By the way, you really got to look up those charities.
Oh
you
yeah,
really,
yeah,
you
no,
really
like some of them are really bad.
up.
Well, I know Amazon does a really good job with it. They don't use like
Okay.
the fucking what is it? I think you posted something about the Autism Speaks
Yeah,
one.
Autism Speaks.
That's a fucking terrible
horrible.
place. Yeah. Well, then there's a vet one that's really bad too. It's like now I can't remember it. Don't donate to any vet associations because it might be the. No, I can't remember which one it is, but it's something to do with like a Purple Heart or something is like in the title, and they literally give like under
doesn't sound
1%
healthy.
of their profits to anything vet related, and the rest goes to like paying salaries
Yep.
and this guy's beach house and shit.
That's how a lot of these.
Pretty
things
disgusting.
work.
Same with those. What's the one on TV that they constantly show that's like for just 50 cents you could help an African child?
Yeah.
That one's shit too.
In the arms.
Yeah, anything with Sarah McLachlan, just ignore it because
And lots
Shut
of
the TV off.
lots of love. All that hair is going to one dude.
dude, I did that. That's the only thing I've ever done for charity. I gave him my hair.
Okay,
Yeah.
Was that when you had your really long hair?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I would imagine.
No, it was when I had really short hair. I just gave him a couple strands. Said here, add this to one of the wigs.
Add it.
Year by year, I just give him one strand. We almost got
strand
enough
at
for
a time.
we almost got enough for a set of bangs.
Okay,
I don't
so
even think that much.
A couple years.
23 strands?
Yeah, that wouldn't be enough, would it?
No.
Somebody do the math on that and get back to us.
23 strands.
I'm 23, so 23 strands.
Oh,
I'm 22.
you are 22.
You son of a
Almost
bitch.
23.
Fine, whatever. Who cares?
I don't know about you.
22 and a half strands.
I'm feeling 22.
But anyway, so with the Reddit stuff,
Yeah.
but so basically, I think that this seems really similar. It's like people getting scared that a platform that they are so established on is gonna crumble in a
gonna
lot
crash,
of ways.
yes.
And it's just I'm here to tell you. First of all, Google's never gonna let YouTube go under.
Yeah.
That will never, ever,
No,
ever
no,
happen.
they would do damage control if something like
And-
that happened. But this is
Yeah.
only affecting a small part of the population of YouTube as well.
Yeah. So I mean, but they're still gonna fix it. You know, if it's like if there's that much of an outrage and they have content creators moving that are actually if they're as big a names as you're talking about. But like I think one of the biggest problems they're gonna have to overcome is the shit channels. So you guys and I shouldn't say
the shit channels. What's
So,
that about?
Okay, so like it's all about shit. Different types of shit, consistency.
Whatnot.
So I
Sounds like a
shouldn't say shit channels. That's like kind of a mean way to put it. But like the more generic, I guess you could use the word vapid channels, where it's just like, oh, check out this $25,000 airplane seat, and the guy does a daily vlog and
Yeah,
that kind of
that
stuff,
guy.
and they make millions of dollars off of that stuff, and the companies that they're in bed with make a shit ton of money off them too, so they give them free stuff. And so
ridiculous.
I think you do have a point when it comes to the idea that they might not care as much about the mid-level creators as they do about keeping their golden boys safe.
Yeah.
Which and they generally
Okay.
aren't very controversial in any way.
Yeah.
They tend to like toe the line of representing these companies, and then they get
Yep.
free cars and yachts and
kinda-
airplane seats when people see that they're on a schedule to fly. Like that's crazy.
Kind of interesting that you bring that up, because one of the theories about why TYT didn't really get affected too much, like some of their smaller channels did, is because it's almost like they're too big to really get attacked, and they're going after the underdogs. It kind of seems like the people
Really?
with no money and no
They're
power.
going after the people with no money.
And no power and stuff.
Like in what do you mean? So like they're directly attacking these other content creators that are opposing these rules? Is that what you're saying?
Wait, what are you talking? No.
'Cause that's what it sounded like. It sounded like you were saying like the Young Turks were going after the other
No,
content creators.
they're too big to be gone after.
Oh,
it's all,
okay.
Yeah, it's all
Okay.
this because
Yeah.
they're fucking massive. They're the biggest news network on the internet. And I totally understand your perspective of they're going to change this eventually because of the whole money issue, and they're going to lose a bunch of cash cows and stuff like that potentially. But there are also a lot of really weird things about this story. A lot of suspicious stuff that just kind of doesn't make sense. And also potentially I'm a little scared about what this might be all about if it continues. And I'm not gonna try and tout it as fact because I have no way to prove it.
Disclaimer: insane conspiracy theory coming up after this.
I already.
All right,
just a strum of a.
Yeah, it's an interlude, dude. Okay. Get with it. You ruined the transition.
So now you've elongated it.
Yep. Tick tock, tick tock.
God damn it! I already know that you're gonna be a little skeptical, Ian. But
I'm never skeptical.
Some of the weird things that's going on right now is that, YouTube's advertising methods already, it's actually kind of brilliant. What they do is they have a barrier between the content creator and the advertiser, right? So you see with a lot of these mainstream networks that they'll be pushing a narrative specific to... directly specific to something that their funders want them to say, or you can't say something like this. But with YouTube, it's kind of like this free roam Wild West where you can say whatever the fuck you want, and you don't have to be pressured by people who are going to say, oh, we're going to pull all our money because you said this, but now we got that going on with this racist video. So in the first place, this is a manufactured issue. Like, we already have regulations against hate speech on YouTube getting monetized. So right off the bat, this seems a little weird. Doesn't, because if that law is already in place, or not law.
I mean, I'd have to look into that. I don't know a ton about that rule. I never really heard anything about that.
That's just what Kolinsky told me.
Okay.
Yeah. And this also comes right after the Wall Street Jerk-Offs, goddamn it, the Journal, did another like a hit piece on PewDiePie.
Oh, I was going to bring up the PewDiePie
where
thing. Dude.
They were trying to paint him as anti-Semitic because he told some stupid joke in passing.
He sent, if you guys haven't heard this story, he sent, there's this thing that you could do online where you basically send a written message to these random two guys in like Africa. And it's something they do to make money is they'll write whatever you said on a sign and then like hold it up in front of a video and do a dance and stuff and send it to you. And a lot of people used it for like happy birthdays and shit. Mm-hmm. And he said something like the Jews did 9/11 or like something like that, you know, like something absurd with Jews in it.
Yeah.
And everybody freaked the fuck out. And they said that he was taking advantage of poverty because these guys are just doing this for money and they don't know what he made them do.
Shut the fuck up.
It blew up so much. And it's like, it's a stupid joke, but it goes back to that idea of what is a joke? Either we can joke about everything or we can't make jokes. And I think that slowly but surely we're kind of moving away from that as a society. We're saying that there are certain things that you are allowed to joke about. And that's pretty dangerous.
Different factions are moving closer and other factions are moving farther apart.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a pretty big clash in the next 10 years if people try to start actively censoring content creators that are controversial or use those words, you know?
Yeah.
You seeing a bit of a weird trend here, though? Kind of like they're going after this from a kind of a social justice warrior angle because they think that might resonate with people. And it's also kind of suspicious to me because we just had a hit piece done on PewDiePie from mainstream outlets who are directly competing with these independent outlets, and they're getting totally overshadowed by it. And now we have another set of what appears to be hit pieces going after YouTube yet again as a platform of a bunch of hate and a bunch of idiots who we can't take seriously. It seems a little weird.
Yeah, I just don't know if like who is the big guy in direct competition with PewDiePie in that scenario. They really, I mean, that makes sense for like the news outlets, but for like the regular content creators that are being censored, that doesn't make any sense because on YouTube there isn't direct competition between like Let's Plays and stuff. It just exists. Like it's not like, oh, if I watch this one, I don't watch this one because they're different, you know.
The idea is that YouTube has essentially just kind of replaced TV and cable networks. They're just they're not happy about it because people don't watch TV anymore.
Yeah, but what does that have to do with the companies then, or like YouTube itself? Because like
what do you mean?
Cable companies aren't the people that are deciding this. So what does it have to do with like they're overshadowing cable?
Cable company. the whole reason why this is happening is because these mainstream news outlets came out with this story, and now YouTube's overreacting because of it.
Yeah, but it's not. Well, no, they weren't. Like the guy who came out with this didn't come out with it on cable. It was his that came after though. He was writing articles online about it.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's not like it. I don't know. That just doesn't seem like directly. That doesn't seem.
Doesn't
like
seem
anything.
connected.
It just doesn't seem like anything. Like, yeah, they do business with those companies because the cable company has deals with other companies that are like they get their ads from, but it's not really, doesn't really matter. Like, they're not really in direct competition for ad space is the idea. You know? So like you can still get an ad on cable that you can get on YouTube, and it doesn't really change anything. If anything, it's like cable is just like, oh yeah, YouTube is the new one, but you also have cable and we can add stuff to it. Like those companies, at least from a marketing standpoint, don't really give a shit. They evolve and they make their money another way. And so I don't see the direct competition link, I guess, that you're bringing in.
People, this is kind of something weird. I was just reading through the comments section on some of these videos, and one of them caught my eye. Somebody mentioned something, and this could definitely be coincidence. This could definitely be people just like making connections that don't exist.
Hey, I love theories, man. It's always fun.
There's this guy who was like, does anybody else notice that when they leave their autoplay feature on, they get directed to like CNN's channel and MSNBC's channel just randomly? And a whole bunch of people were like, yeah, I've only noticed just recently that's kind of happening. And another guy chimes in like, yeah, I've actually actively checked off. There's like some setting where you can be like, yeah, I'm just not interested with this. And it just still happens all the time.
That's interesting.
That's weird.
How many that could be something. I mean, that's really interesting because I would love to see like some instances of like how many views those had and how related they are to the actual video that you just watched, because like you know, you can pay to be higher up in the recommended sections.
Oh yeah.
So that could literally just be the company with more money paying to have their video higher in the autoplay stuff.
It could also be kind of a campaign to get people into YouTube TV, maybe.
Yeah, I can see that because they're like, oh, here's a sample. Like, oh, by the way, you can watch like full segments on YouTube TV. Yeah, but that just seems to me like companies with more power being able to show their stuff first, which is scary on a level. When you think about it from a net neutrality perspective, they've almost found this little bubble where they can still have companies pay for better slots, which is something that Google as a whole, they allow it for like ads and stuff, but you can't pay to make your site run faster than another site. You know, like you can't pay Google to make it run better or like do things like that because there's laws against for the sake of net neutrality, so that, you know, a big news network isn't going to have a better site just because they have more money. They probably will because they paid somebody more, but Google isn't actively helping these companies have a better chance of existing. It's just a matter of how much you can do.
Is that what you're saying? Is that just kind of speculative, or are you saying that's what it is?
No. This is how Google works. This is how, like, as far as like marketing on Google works in general. This is like, those are the laws in place, and we learned all about it. By the way,
Ian went to college for marketing.
Yeah, entertainment and media business, so a lot of marketing classes and stuff. So, yeah, so basically that's how it works with that, and the only way that we can really manipulate it is through SEO and analytics, so like search engine optimization, which is basically putting AdWords, which are words that people would search in Google for your site. If you're like a gardening place, like garden, lawn care, and all the different types of things you can think of that someone might search for. That's the only way that's like fair anymore that you can do. And so what it seems like to me is YouTube is kind of almost utilize that in a way so that these major places are able to get into higher ranking as far as like things, but to put that on YouTube is a little wrong too, because technically they're not the people who did it. The company's just paid more to have it up on a higher list.
Bumped up.
But you can also argue that YouTube letting that happen is allowing bigger companies to overshadow smaller ones. But at the same time, videos that have like are monetized more and have more views always come first anyways. So it's also a way for them to streamline better content, quote unquote.
Well, see, what's kind of interesting is that people in that little thread I was talking about, they're saying that this just recently seems to be happening, which could just be like they just think
they're looking. They were never looking for this before. Now they're looking for it. So, yeah,
that could definitely
tough.
be.
It's tough. I think that there's definitely that probably is happening. There probably is a lot of CNN stuff coming up earlier than the lower content because they're paying more. I think that's simply what it comes down to. I don't think it's a vast conspiracy. I think it's companies with more money getting their content out there better because they hired a team of marketers who know how to get their stuff up.
Ian,
better.
you don't understand. It's all about the money. That's the fight. That's the key. That's everything. Actual Alex Jones quote.
Yeah. Wow, that's on point.
Yeah. So YouTube, this is the weirdest thing about all of this.
Okay.
YouTube put the David Pakman show on a blacklist that YouTube claims doesn't exist.
Huh.
This is really weird. Secular Talk got put on it too. What happened was this person, David Pakman, he got a letter from an advertiser who she specifically goes to like all these like political channels that she likes. Maybe not just political, but she specifically says, hey, I want to run ads with these guys. So you can choose to do that. And they were put on a blacklist where YouTube's like, no, you can't do that. That's weird.
That does seem really weird.
And
I don't know anything about that.
They deny it exists, apparently.
Yeah, that sounds really weird.
Really
That's the weirdest part.
YouTube also switched to making it so you can't skip ads. Anybody else notice that?
Yeah.
What?
I only noticed it since I have to turn off my ad blocker to upload the videos for this.
Yep.
But and I sometimes I forget to switch it back.
Yeah.
But yeah, the like, oh, you can skip after 3 seconds has now become you can skip this ad never.
Yep.
It's just like your video will play after this ad. It just says that in the corner.
The skip ad, the text in it's been replaced with "fuck you."
Yeah, that's essentially what it is, and so that's pretty interesting.
watch,
But all I
damn
can
it.
say is like, hey, if you give a shit about this, just use ad blocker all the time. Then nobody's you're not giving anybody any money except for. Yeah, no, you're not giving anybody any money.
That actually kind of makes me feel bad because I have an ad blocker. Well, I still might do the Patreon thing. So, worst case scenario, and this is where things get really conspiratorial a bit, and I'm not going to tout it as fact. I'm just going to say that I'm a huge fucking cynic, and I would not be surprised for a second.
Life is an episode of Black Mirror.
This is actually really fucking scary in a modern context because right now we have a lot of people, and this all started. There was a bit of this going on before. It all started with you can't talk about ISIS in your videos
That's
or else
weird.
they
Doesn't
get monetized.
ISIS have a YouTube channel?
Yes, they do. I think.
Well, now I'm confused.
And it's
Really
like,
confused.
even if you do an anti-ISIS video, it's just automatically caught up in the dragnet. You're done with that video. It's weird. And this can be really dangerous because right now all these independent news sources on the internet are particularly anti-war, kind of anti-establishment. They don't really toe the narrative, especially the ones I watch. I'm sure that there are plenty of other channels.
Well, the
that
internet actually does tend to lean a little left in general.
Oh, yeah.
The mainstream outlets that have the outlets that have become mainstream online and the most popular ones tend to lean left.
The country is generally leftist.
Yeah, kind of. It depends. Well, I mean, not according to this past election.
Hillary Clinton got more votes.
Yeah, but you know, I'm just saying, like, yeah. So the majority, but it's not by that much. By like what, 7 million people?
Yeah. Well, the majority of people didn't even vote anyway.
Yeah. If not voting was an option, I think it was like they won by like 70% or something.
See, here's the thing, though. You're talking about party lines. If you're talking about issues, the people are actually overwhelmingly liberal. Like, if you come up to people, there's been polling done on this where they'll be like
but polling. I mean,
they'll approach people and they'll be like, here's this idea, here's that idea. We're not going to tell you which one it is. Which do you like? And people are always like, free healthcare? I want that. I want guns to have common sense backgrounds.
See, but that's very leading questions though. Like just like, oh, I want free healthcare. Like that's a very easy thing to say, but then it's like, how would you go about that? Is the real thing. So it's like, I'm saying is like,
I'm not saying that's necessarily.
But I'm saying that that's a really inaccurate way to poll somebody. Do you want free healthcare? It's like, of course, anybody you go. But then.
Or do you want a single payer system? Let's say something like that.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, even if you go up to a right wing person and say, do you want free healthcare? Like everybody wants free healthcare.
It's a loaded question.
Yeah.
So this is kind of dangerous to me because you got these anti-war people talking all this stuff. And right now you got these mainstream outlets. Did you see the reaction from them after Trump bombed that Syrian airport?
No, I didn't.
It was fucking disgusting. It
Yeah.
was disgusting. Like, Fareed Zakaria comes on and he's like talking it up. What, do you not like?
I have no idea who that is.
Okay, Ian just made a face where like it
I
looked
wasn't trying to make a face. I was just
like he
I was
ate
thinking.
something funny, and he's
I
like,
did.
"Yeah."
I did.
Fareed Zakaria was fawning over it. Who's that guy who lied about getting attacked by an RPG and then he had to go away? Brian Williams.
Yeah, I
Brian
remember
Williams.
that.
He was literally saying, "Wow, these missiles are beautiful." It was literally like propaganda, basically. And
Yeah.
it
Well,
was.
there was the whole thing with Hillary Clinton too, that she said she was like shot at and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
She
I mean,
was totally
everybody tries
not.
to sensationalize that shit in some way. You know, they think it's gonna help people out. You know, make them feel like they're part of the action.
All I'm really worried about is that this could be a calculated attempt, possibly from moneyed powers, to perhaps kind of make the narrative a little more like war friendly. A lot of these mainstream outlets, by the way, are literally funded directly by weapons manufacturers like GM and stuff. I don't know. I'm not.
But you're gonna say like, oh,
What?
GM, yeah, they only make weapons.
Not only.
Well, but it's
they
like-
still have a vested interest in the industry.
Yeah, but not as much as like an actual full-time weapons manufacturer would. I
Okay.
mean, they have like what? How many other industries in GM? Like it's
GM,
it's a drop in the
a
water for
bajillion.
them, man. So like to say like they would care that much to go out and actively manipulate like a pro-war rhetoric is like. You said I was going to be critical of that
think
one. I think
so.
that's fucking insane, dude. I
They-
think that is a really,
It's not
really
just
like.
GM.
I think that is a pretty far reach from like
Really?
what's been happening so far. I
Really?
think you made so many assumptions in that, and to get you to that point that there's just not enough fact to back up any of that stuff.
I'm not touting it as a fact.
No, I'm just saying that, and I know you said that. And I'm just
Yeah.
saying there isn't enough fact within it to lead me down any road of even remote suspicion.
I just know that money talks. Money talks, and it.
Well, yeah, but then from the same sentiment, if money talks, then it could be as simple as the bigger companies are just spending more money to get their
paying
videos
more.
more because they make more money in
money
return.
talks.
So money talks.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Occam's razor. So the simplest answer is most likely the truthful one. So the simple answer to me is this: a big company with more money spends more money on marketing to get their videos up first. Not because they have some weird ulterior motive, but because it makes them more money every time somebody clicks on it.
Yeah.
That's the simplest answer.
For that,
And
for
to
that
me-
argument, yeah. Or
and-
for that issue.
Yeah, but in general, I think that's basically what it comes down to. Is like I think that there's not some crazy conspiracy. I think YouTube was covering their ass, and I think that they did a reactionary thing that definitely went way too far. But I think within the next like 6 months to a year, we'll see them kind of backing off a little bit. At least that's my prediction. 6 months, we'll come back to this podcast and we'll talk about how it's been going.
I would concede they're going to back off at least a bit. Like, actually, Secular Talk has already been taken off the blacklist.
Yeah.
And they're back to 50% of their funds being there. He was actually like, it was ridiculous. I said, oh, thank God only half of my funds are gone.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's a good place to end. I
Yeah.
think that that was some good talk. I think Christian's a fucking insane conspiracy theorist
Yeah, me
on
too,
par with
dude.
Alex Jones.
Yeah.
I think you're in the pockets of big government.
Yeah, dude, they paid me. I'm getting paid for this video by GM.
By GM.
They're gonna give me a new gun
And a gay frog.
and a gay frog just to go with it.
And on that note,
Well, as always, this is Ian
I'm Christian.
And Patrick.
signing off.